Here's something weird. You can remember exactly 3 days from last month, maybe 4 if you really think about it. But there were 30 of them, so where did the other 26 go? They didn't disappear, they just blended in. Like if you left paint sitting in the same cup for too long. I noticed this during my late teens and a lot here recently, and I've noticed I just wake up, I go to work, I drive an hour to my other job, I drive back, I scroll, and then I sleep. And it's repeat, repeat, and repeat. And I'm not miserable. I mean, I don't hate my life, but it's just static. It's like white noise. It's basically the same day every day until a random event occurs that I didn't expect. But then I played Red Dead Redemption 2. And look, I know you're thinking it's a cowboy game, but hear me out. Because what stuck with me wasn't the shooting or the missions, it was everything else. You're riding through the world as Arthur Morgan and you see smoke rising in the distance. The game doesn't put a marker there, it doesn't tell you to investigate, it just exists. You could ride past, and most players do. I was curious, so I went over there. It's a woman on the side of the road saying she's trapped under her horse. And I gave him a ride to the nearest town, and of course he thanked me and went on his way, and that was it. There was no achievement, no award, just a moment that happened because I chose to see what the smoke was about. And later on, I'm riding at sunset, and the game actually makes you want to slow down and just watch the light filter through the trees and hear someone else calling for help. I found a stranger whose horse had just died, straining him in the middle of nowhere. So I pick her up and take her where she needs to go to, where her family is and where she's from. I didn't have to pick her up, but I decided to. The game is full of these moments. They're not the main story, they're just there, waiting for players who decide to pay attention. And that's when it clicked. Real life isn't an open world game. We just keep playing it like it has borders. Think about your daily route. Your route from home to work, from work to your next job, to the same gas station, the same drive, the same playlist on loop. We've optimized the path so thoroughly that we've deleted the world around it. We're literally speedrunning our own lives. But here's the thing about open world games. They're designed around the principle of ambient discovery. You're never more than 30 seconds away from something interesting, a stranger with a story, a detail you've never noticed, a path that leads somewhere unexpected, and the real world has that too, but most of us have stopped looking. I started testing this, small stuff at first, and at my first job, instead of just throwing boxes and going through the motions, I started actually talking to some of the people I work with. I asked one guy about the weirdest delivery he's ever made, and he spent about 20 minutes telling me how he delivered a live chicken to a third floor apartment. And another guy I work with tells me that he collects vintage lunchboxes. Like, bro has over 200 of them. I had no idea that was even a thing people did. And then I started to notice my hour-long drive to my next job became different too. Instead of taking the highway on autopilot, I started trying different routes. I found this tiny Mexican place that makes the best burritos I've ever had. And it turns out there's a regular there who restores old Camaros in the garage. So when I'm at my other job and I'm detailing cars, I actually notice the little details. The way different paint jobs might catch the light, stories behind the scratches and the dents, all the dirt and all the candy in the car, from kids having a great time on their way home from vacation. I started talking to my neighbor who I've only ever tried avoiding. I found out she used to run from the police in Florida. That's why she's living here without a license because of it. But hey, I mean, she's working on it. She told me she's getting her license soon. And it's crazy, I know, but I never had that small conversation. And ever since I've done that, she's always came over here to knock on her door, to give us snacks, cookies. And recently she brought us leftover candy from Halloween because apparently kids don't like going trick-or-treating anymore this year. And none of these were life-changing moments, but they were moments, you know, they were distinct and memorable. They were different from the rest of the time I've been experiencing recently. And that's the kind of stuff that makes Tuesday different from Wednesday and prevents everything from just blending in all at once. So what I've learned is that curiosity is the anti-pattern. Every time you follow a what if, every time you ask a question you don't need the answer to, or every time you take the path you've never taken, you're breaking a loop. You create a save point in your memory. Because the secret about why days blur together are our brains are compressing repetitive information. If nothing is changing, well then nothing's going to get stored. It's efficient. It's also why you can't remember last Tuesday or what you had for lunch literally 3 days ago. But when you're curious, when you're learning, your brain goes, oh, this is new, I better save this one. So this is what you need to do, a protocol or a pattern break protocol. All you got to do is once per day, follow your curiosity. And that's it. Not some crazy life-changing event, just one moment where you choose curiosity over autopilot. You know, take a different route. Ask someone about something they clearly care about. Look up the thing you wondered about for 3 seconds and then forgot. Try the food you've never ordered. Read the plaque you always walk past. All you need is one spark or one side quest and one break in the pattern. And you know what's funny is that in Red Dead Redemption 2, the most memorable moments aren't usually the big story missions. They're random events. They're random encounters, like the conversation with a stranger at the campfire, or the guy who's always looking for his friend Gavin.
Has anyone seen an Englishman called Gavin?
Or the naturalist you find in the woods who's asking you to photograph wildlife. And that guy building a house with his kids who just wants someone to talk to so he can complain about how his kids suck at building the house. And life is like that too. The interesting stuff isn't usually on the main path. It's in the margins, like the side conversations or the weird hobbies, and that random day when you decided to see what was down that street. So here's my challenge. Literally break the pattern just one time. Ask the question you've always wanted to ask, take the turn, visit a park you've always heard about, apply to that job you think you have no chance of getting, ask the girl out you've had a crush on for months, and go down the wrong street. Or Order what the person next to you is getting. Life doesn't have to be mundane or a repeat from last week. And to do that, you've got to mix things up. And sure, curiosity killed the cat, but boredom buries it alive. Now I don't know about you, but being a cat sounds a lot more fun than suffocating to death. And if you want to see where my YouTube journey began, click this video and it'll give you an insight of how far we've come already. Anyways, subscribe if you want, like the video, and tell me how you're going to break the pattern down in the comments. That's all I've got today, so bye.